Hello and welcome to Fortify City TV Roundtable discussion. And this discussion is all about the Constitution of the Republic of Liberia. It's about time that you know your Constitution. And so we have been discussing a series of articles in the Constitution of Liberia that we believe are not too clear, or they are vague, or they need some amendment. And so we are here again to hear from you what is on your mind as a concern the Constitution, or what is on your mind as a concern violation of the Constitution, or what is on your mind as a concern governance. And the reason why it is important to know your Constitution, it is because you will know your rights and your freedom. You will know the limit of government power. You will recognize the rule of law and accountability. You will be able, or you will know that as a citizen, you have to participate in civic engagement, which voting is one example. And knowing your Constitution also bring the knowledge of your protection. How are you protected? Why should you be protected? We are getting some feedback here. So let's mute until it's ready to talk. So there's a lot we need to know. And that's the reason why we have to know our Constitution. What is in that Constitution for you? What are the benefits of knowing your Constitution, or the benefits of the Constitution when it comes to your Constitution as a citizen? What do you gain? So we have been discussing the Constitution, and we will continue to discuss the Constitution, and we will still look at provisions within the Constitution that we believe should be amended, to bring more clarity and to enhance accountability. And so we want to say welcome again to the roundtable. We are still waiting for our panelists, those that will join us, but nevertheless, our lines are open because we want to hear from you. What is on your mind as it concerns the Liberian Constitution? What is on your mind as it concerns violations of the Constitution? There are some people that say, "Oh, they're violating the Constitution. The Constitution say this, and the Constitution say that." What do you want to say to that? So we are here, and we want to hear your voice. We want to hear your opinion. We want you to contribute to this discussion. So our lines are open. And I want to call those numbers again. Like every time we get on this platform, we always do. I want to say welcome to our Radio Land, or Ablij Radio in Buchanan, Voice of Plebo in Maryland County, Liberty Radio in Monrovia. I want to say welcome and thank you so much for being very patient with us and for committing to spreading information and education across Liberia. Thank you so much. And to our viewers, our lines are here. It's open. We want to hear from you. And the numbers are, let's give this number. The numbers are 0881-667-310-775, 734-774, 0770777572, 0888-669-430. So any one of those numbers, as we go along, we will continue calling in. The last one, Voice of Plebo, is 0776-669-7767. So we'll continue reminding you about those numbers. You can call them and make your contribution or voice your opinion. And thank you so much for being part of this discussion as always. Please do us a favor, share the broadcast, because this broadcast is all about disseminating information and we want people to know and be very, very, informed as it concerns the Constitution. Thank you so much. Welcome. And this is the roundtable on Fortified City TV, and we are discussing the Liberian Constitution. Welcome. Moses, welcome. I can hear you, Moses.
Yeah. So sure, I mute my microphone. At least I'm okay now, right?
Yeah, you're okay. You're okay.
Yeah. So basically, there are many things on the minds of the people. If today the discussion will not only be limited to the Constitution, I believe that they have many things in mind and they would like to share with us on the broadcast.
They can share because what is on your mind. So it's 3-4. Governance. What is on your mind as a concern governance? What is on your mind as a concern the Constitution? What is on your mind as a concern violation of the Constitution?
Okay. So let me just at least just talk to our people for a minute. For those of you who are here in Maryland County and you've been following us on the discussion, roundtable discussion, this is the program where we bring you arguments of the Liberian Constitution. We talk about the reform of the Liberian Constitution, and also we look today. We are not only limiting to the Constitution, right? We are looking at governance, and I think we would like to take maybe an opinion from a colleague who is also here in studio, Bob Morris. We have to also share his opinion with us or his own point of view that is as relates to what is on his mind, to tell us what do he have to say, on to this discussion.
Moses, I want to say thanks for having me on this round table. I'm so pleased to be here discussing issue of national concern. And I want to say thanks to there's a little feedback.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I want to say thanks to the organizer and also the producer of this program as well. And one thing that drew to my mind here how to do with the issue of elections activities in Liberia.
Okay.
But I was there over the period of time that sometimes, let's say for instance, if America is having an election, we understood that some American citizens still out of America can sometimes vote out of America. Meaning, if you're an American citizen in Liberia, you have right to vote for your president in America, in Liberia.
Okay.
We are also observed that other foreign citizens, when everyone having the elections, we follow it, and other foreign citizens out of Ivory Coast had the right to vote out of Ivory Coast, somehow in Mali, in Burkina, and other countries around Ivory Coast. We want to know if indeed it is constitutional that Liberian citizens out of Liberia can also vote out of Liberia.
Okay.
I think that's one issue how if that can be addressed.
Pastor Patient, I hope you got it.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much. Let me mute you a little bit. Yes. We discussed that before. There was a time that I asked this question on when we had it not on the roundtable, it was another program, and I was asking legal minds concerning this. Of course, the Constitution said that everyone should vote. Everyone should vote. But the reason why people outside Liberia is like it's called absentee ballots, right? You are not there, but you are voting. You are sending your ballot, your ballot. So you may be in America, you may be in Africa, what part of Africa you are, wherever your consulate or your embassy is located. So that is where you vote. But the thing here is the mechanism needs to be put in place that will accommodate the citizen outside Liberia to be able to vote. And because they have not done so, Liberians outside, they cannot vote. Because there are a lot that need to be done. You have to ensure that you have the resources to furnish all the missions outside Liberia with all the voting materials and everything that they need to vote. You have to ensure that you have observers that will be present to ensure that, of course, there will be no electoral fraud and everything else you need to have to make that process a success. It's because we have not put that in place. That is one of the major reasons Liberians are not voting outside. But it's happening in other countries.
So to do a follow, that simply means that indeed we Liberians are being denied by the government not to vote outside because they are not putting in place a mechanism, right?
Exactly. So
So why don't mechanism?
that's true.
Yes.
Go ahead.
So if I would love to come again, why don't mechanism need the president own government to making sure that at least people outside of Liberia to come in, because we observe that during the time of election, citizens leave from other countries come in to vote, and some of them are classified as foreigners, and it brings some level of somehow of me trucking and what have you to avoid the incidents during election periods. What can be done at least to speed it up?
You mean voting outside or voting within?
Some can be transported by other lawmakers per their feeling that they are Liberian outside and need to come to Liberia to have their election rights.
It is against the electoral laws, right? To
Very good.
Yes, and this is something that we can only make recommendation that the election commission would really look into it and ensure that will not be happening every electoral period.
Okay.
Yeah. So elections commission, they are responsible to ensure that we have free and fair elections. And all the processes that need to be adhered to by the electorate and those that are contending for different positions, they have to ensure that these people don't violate or whatever that have been put in place.
Because some take it as a defense that indeed since government is unable to put the mechanism to bring to carry the balance to their citizens outside of Liberia, so they take it as an advantage to go in there and bringing them in and say that indeed they are right, so they have the right to also vote. What can you say about that?
Well, if people are trucking people, how do we know that they are citizens of Liberia? Are they registered voters? If the elections commission sees that they are registered voter, then indeed they have the right to vote, because you must be able to authenticate. That's why we have the elections commission. They must do everything in their power to ensure that the people that are being registered, they are the citizens of the country, in order for them to vote, for them to cast their vote, because it is your right, your fundamental right.
My concern is, because we are all at the bordering counties of other countries around, we also see this thing happening here. So it's been to my concern to see how to address the issues. Now, this Liberian left Liberia during the civil crisis and went to neighboring countries. Some of them stay around the bordering land for survival. Very good. So from that point of view, they are there making their life. But time for election, they are too much. They have their excitement to come to Liberia to have their elections or to have their self voting for their leader, for which some aspirants or candidates use it as a means of getting to them, convince them and bring them over, because someone they express their mind that indeed we cannot afford them to Liberia. So if you can help us to get there, we will give our vote to you. And in that range of bringing them, at that point of view, they can be stuck at the border point. How you can, are you a Liberian citizen? One question. Sometimes they debate it and then they come in. When they come in, some they can be granted voting right to vote, because somehow we say as and other things around here, and then they'll be giving some voting right to vote. So there we get sort of confusion during the time of elections. People around the bordering county always place their, they are concerned that people truck foreigners, people truck aliens to Liberia to vote during election days. So I think it's about time that we are media practitioners or media members to see how best to push government to the push, or to see how best that they can, making sure to work on this thing to avoid future embarrassment to election activities.
Exactly. That's what they need to do. And that's what, sorry, every time we're talking, the feedback is so terrible. We apologize for that. But yes, Elections Commission should ensure that the people that are being registered, they are the rightful citizens of Liberia. And if they allow these people, because they are the one issuing voters registration cards, so if they allow these people, to register, it means that maybe they have done their due diligence. Who knows? We don't know. We are not officials of the commission. So we can only say that, well, we can assume that, oh, these people are citizens. But they should ensure that they are registering the right people. We want to welcome Mr. Jones, Chuchu Alex Jones. Welcome to the roundtable. And this is our discussion on the Constitution. And the brother in studio is concerned about people that are being trucked. He wants to know whether they are real citizens, whether they are really, they are vetted properly by the Elections Commission. And so most of the time they are trucked in and trucked out because it's election period. But then you can't rule out that they are not citizens, because during the war, a lot of people went outside Liberia, especially neighboring countries, and they settled, they had children, and they established themselves. So they have the right to vote if they are citizens of Liberia. But the process is what he's concerned about, whether it is, is done the right way, due diligence. So I want to say welcome to the roundtable, and if you want to comment on that, you are welcome. At the same time, today our discussion is what is on your mind. We are discussing the Constitution. We are also discussing violation of the Constitution, and we are also discussing governance. So welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, I was following the discussion. Very good topic about voting and trucking and all that kind of stuff. I think the problem is that we first need a identification system in Liberia, where every Liberian needs to be identified, no matter where part of the world the person lives. If that is done, and that can be done, in my opinion, very easily. You have the technology to do it. Just for instance, you just ask everyone, go on the embassy's website, register and to get identification card and process or whatever, and then be way before election, you have some database of those who are you know register as a citizen of your country. And so when election comes around and the election commission goes through the verification process, and you are not, or you haven't already identified yourself in what country you were and so forth, then it's very easy to say, okay, this person just appear for election. So I think that needs to be done in Liberia, where I don't think we have a very good system of identifying our citizen. Like, for instance, I know in the United States you have your social security number. No matter what part of the world you go, until you die, that social security number stays with you.
But they do
Wherever
have they
country
do
you're
have
in,
national identification card in Liberia as well.
yeah, but
So
it's a
this should also form
database.
part of the process.
Correct. So yeah.
Yeah.
So not just the card. The card means nothing because the card can be correct. So is there a number? Is there a unique number on that card?
Go
Yeah,
ahead,
yeah.
Moses. Unmute
No,
yourself.
I want asking. Yeah, I want to
Yes.
ask him.
So
Is there?
so of
Does it
course,
have a?
there's a number generated by the RT, who can run the exercise. So there's a number generated, and the number is also on the ID card here. And at the
Okay.
back of the ID card, as soon as you scan it, you're gonna get all of the information of the person, their age, their origin, their background, and what have you. You're also gonna get it, including their parents and what have you name. Also, they are also in the background.
Very good. All right. So with that, then that should prevent any kind of
Before you
voting
come in,
just fraud.
Alex, this number, when we talk about unique number, we want to compare it to that of the SS system here, because that number on the card, it means that that number should no longer be assigned to any other person. It should be yours and yours alone
Correct.
until eternity. So it makes it easier if that number is just yours alone. But I don't think
Right.
that's
Right.
the case with that card.
Yeah. Yeah. There you
Go
Yeah.
go.
ahead.
So let me come in. Yeah, the number that is generated here, it is only for this lady alone. It is only for the lady. Now, as you speak, we got some missing ID card here, national identification card here in studio, and every citizens they are entitled to their own separate number. So on several occasions, we hosted Mr. Thompson, who is the coordinator for Maryland County chapter of the National Identification Registry. He talked about them, and we asked some of these questions as a word up because there was a Ghanaian who duplicated the process, right? Duplicated the system, and he printed many ID cards, and he never knew that where you can identify the fraud is that the numbers are different. In the processing, the way the number can be generated, but he never knew, and he faced everybody ID card with the same number, and with just different names. So they were able to arrest him, and he was at the Harper police station and under detention, for carrying on fraud, in the system. So there it is.
Right. Okay. So if that's the case, then you can't. I mean, I don't see how you will have voter fraud, because if they use that number, they know your age, they know your height, they know your they have your identity, which should correspond with a voter's card. So if
My
you move,
question here, Chuchu, 1 minute. My question here to Moses is that if you have that number that they have issued, you have that number. Next voting, when you are voting the next time, will you still have that number? Because here, when you have SS number, it's with you. Every document you have, you're going to see that number. So the SS, the number that is on that voter's card, if you are voting the next time, will it be the same number? Okay.
Moses, I think you muted.
Citizen cards.
Okay, the first time, yeah.
Also, this is the first time we're generating usually the biometric voter cards. So we know that at this point, this is the only number. It sounds to me, for example, if we have another election is coming, and then of course number will be changed, then we can comment on that. But for now, it's going to be for me. Therefore, it is for me. No two person have no two person bearing single number.
Okay.
Go ahead, Chuchu.
So what I was saying is there should not be any voter fraud, or at least it should be in very small cases. So if Moses votes for a representative in Maryland County, right? And let's say another representative goes and trucks him from Maryland County to Sano County. The moment he goes to vote, it should show in the system that he's already voted and he's a resident of Maryland County. So it wouldn't matter, if the person came for the border, the first process would be give them one of those cards. Give them a card long before election. That should be something like every citizen, no matter where, I should have a card that shows that I'm in the United States. This is my number, right? And when it's time to vote, I use that same card along with my voter's card to vote. So I don't see what the problem comes in. So if you're not a citizen, then you can't get that card, correct? You shouldn't be able to get the card. And if you don't have that card, you shouldn't be able to vote anywhere in the country. So I think it's not a difficult thing to solve. I think maybe the election commission still have the corruption problem. But if you have a card system, a national identification card, then I don't see why there's voters fraud. Because even if there's voters fraud, let's say somebody took your card from you, right? And they went to Monrovia to vote. Okay. Your information, the person voted in Monrovia. And let's say you go and get a new card. They should be able to know that that number was already used in Monrovia. So they can invalidate that person's vote once they correctly identify you, right? Because only one person can have one number. And you can even vote, you should be able to vote only in the place where the district of which you are registered according to that card. So when you move to a different district, you should be able to go now and update that system. They should have a website where you can go in, put your card number in, and hit update. I'm no longer in Maryland County District 1. I'm now in Bond County District 2. So that election comes, But Liberia will let it hurry thing. Nobody won't do anything until election, 3 months before election. Then people running around with chicken all head. That's the problem in Liberia. That's called mismanagement. And that's a failure on the government. Because you shouldn't, election can be held now where people should be able to vote anywhere in the world with the internet. That no rocket science. And election results should be counted almost instantaneously. You don't even need to wait because as the person is voting, the data is collected, it's tally up, and you can actually see in real time, who voted. You don't need anything else, in my opinion, to really stop the fraud.
Yeah, so let me come here a bit. Yeah, Bob, I think you wanted to say something, Bob.
Yes. What I want to say is that let's come back to the initial question on Liberian living outside
You're sounding very
Liberia.
low. They are
Yes.
doing.
Yeah, I said Liberian living outside Liberia. And to the lady explain on mechanism that need to be put in place. Yes. Sorry for saying the lady. Pastor Patient explained that that indeed we need some mechanism to be put into place, making sure that the Liberian citizens outside Liberia will have the kind of voting right or franchise, to making sure that they have their right to vote as well. So, what is our own role as media to put the government to pressure to making sure that indeed that citizens living outside Liberia in country where Liberia have embassy, making sure they have the voting right to vote during election time?
Yeah. So I know. Pastor Blake going to address it, or Mr. Ellis going to also talk about it. But here comes my argument. The Liberian Constitution provides, the right to every Liberian citizens, an exclusive opportunity to be able to exercise a political franchise, that is to vote, right? And as a matter of fact, there's no clause, in the Liberian Constitution I talk about, people should not vote outside of their country. So even the lawmakers, that that are in the habit of maybe carrying some voter tracking, they should be the same one in the Liberian Constitution to say, let's call for a reform of the Liberian Constitution and do some amendment in the Constitution. But they are the same one encouraging the same thing. So what do we expect? We'll always have similar cases occurring.
Hold your thoughts, Moses. We're going to come back to you. Of course, when it comes to he talking about what the media is doing as a concern, dissemination, spreading this news about the reason why Liberians need to vote, and the elections commission need to do everything they can to ensure that people vote, the rights of the citizen. But we have a caller online right now. He wants to make his contribution. So we will let him introduce himself, and then he can tell us what he has to say. Welcome. This is the round table.
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, this is Frank Kwame, calling from the Midwest, United States. First of all, let me say thank you for this wonderful discussion today concerning the Constitution. But as it relates to absentee voting, the 1973 Alien and Nationality Act that was amended in July 2022. It just came to the fore that those citizens, let's say Liberian living in the diaspora, have the right, to be a citizen. This just came into the fore by the 54th legislature. But talking about the Constitution, Article 80C, Article 80C of the Liberian 1986 Constitution talks about absentee voting. But that voting can only take place, maybe, take for example, James got registered in District 12, and because of due to certain things, he is in District 14, he can still vote. But it does not support Liberians, in the diaspora or wherever it is to vote, like maybe the previous contributor was saying in Ivory Coast, people can go into Mali. Yeah, it's fine, but until we can work on the constitution. That's why this entire issue about the roundtable discussion is very, very much significant for the growth and development of our country, because there are a lot of blanket provisions and articles within the constitution that needs to be amended and to discuss. Okay, so until that is done, we will talk now and forevermore. And we were talking about the media. That is why the media needs to champion this identical cause, so that our people, our leaders can come to say, okay, since now we have had the issue of dual citizenship settled. We have already been settled now as of July 2022. Okay, so since it is settled, now let us work on our citizens that are outside Liberia so that they can partake or participate in any election within Liberia. So until that can be done, the Constitution still stands as Article 80C talks about. Yeah, absentee voting can take place, but only out of your constituency. Lastly, let me learn of this. One of the panelists, Mr. Jones, is making a very, very significant point here as it relates to whether you are in any, whenever you are on the internet, you can do voting. That will also help the country for them to make a rightful decision, so we can have a very impactful leader that can able to transform our country. But until that, we need to talk about the Constitution. We need amendment within the Constitution. Mind you, the Constitution is the supreme law of the nation. Until that is done, it will be very, very, very abstract for people to vote outside Liberia. Thank you very much for having me. Continue on the course. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Kwame. It was good having you on, and we continue our discussion. Yes, Mr. Jones, you were.
And he's actually absolutely correct that ADC states that every Liberian citizen should have the right to be registered in a constituency and to vote in public elections only in the constituency. So that's what needs to be revised. Okay. So the absentee, like you rightly said, is for you if you're not in your constituency in Liberia. So for those again living outside of the country, for instance, so the ambassador that are living in UK, how does he vote? Or in America?
Well, it's not a dual citizenship, or he has to be home to vote,
which is stupid, because you have a lot of foreign workers outside the country. They are full citizens. Exactly. They're on missions. The military that are doing peacekeeping in Mali or somewhere, how do they vote? They're not entitled to vote too. So that's right. A problem. If any government official who is traveling or who's sick and have to leave the country as they usually do, how do they vote? Do they go back to their constituency, leave their hospital bed or their visit just to vote?
So this is a challenge. This is a challenge to the Election Commission. They need to do what they need to do so that they can have all the citizens voting. And like the gentleman rightfully said, that what are the media doing? Some of the things that the media should be doing, they're not doing it. Because these are issues that need to be highlighted so that the right authorities, because sometimes people will not do the work unless you keep talking and talking. That's when they are reminded that they have to have a statutory obligation, So let the media start talking about the absentees ballots and all that. That means we are also concerned about our brothers and sisters that are out there, and they need to exercise their rights as citizens. And so hopefully we can start that campaign. Thank you so much, Mr. Jones. So apart from oh Lord Jesus. All right, let me answer this call. My lines. I'll go to the lines, but I want to hear from Moses before we go to the next question.
Yeah, so I think the comeback in studio said his mind, but I was like saying, when we should have that privilege, given to everyone to come and cast their vote. But in the absence of them, attending, we got callers here also. But in the absence of people, attending to their constitutional right, I think it is also a violation to that right, because the Liberian Constitution provides that every citizen has the full right to go and cast their vote, and it should be given a legitimate right. But there comes the issue of where people are being questioned, because some of our brothers and sisters who migrated to the nearby Guinea, who migrated to Sierra Leone, migrated to the Ivory Coast.
Due to our own conflict that we provided for them.
Yeah, due to
it's not their fault.
Yeah, due to other issues, due to the Liberian civil crisis, some of them went as a way of maybe looking for job opportunities. Some of them went as a way of of maybe going to seek maybe opportunity as well, and other stuff, right? And they have left the country for a while, and during the election time, this is where we can realize that they are Liberians, and they should come and cast their vote. Knowing to the fact that we should be able to establish the platform or establish the truth, that they should go to to the embassy to go and cast their vote. But when these things are not happening, it becomes a serious challenge. But however, I think we got called to honor Ablige. So Ablige, I think you can go ahead.
Ablige, are you there? Let's continue.
Yeah, so 07766977767, 07766977767. You can join us to be part of the discussion. What is on your mind concerning about what we are discussing here? You want to share with us here, you can go ahead and be live on the show. Yeah, Bob.
Yes, again, I want to come. This, for me, I'm so concerned about election matter and settling disputes. That's my entire concern. So I had a second issue on the election matter. Second, I to do with the issue of electing traditional leaders. I think that would be Article 10 or 56 of Liberian Constitution. The town chiefs claim power how to be elected into positions, and they can be dismissed based on the president. No certification. What would you say in a kind of common sense?
Okay.
Is this happening in Liberia? If not, why? Because the law provides in the organic law of Liberia that they should be elected by the people who they govern. But over the period of time, I've not seen that. I've not heard about that. Only one I hear about the legislative elections, presidential elections, senatorial elections. That's what I'm normally hearing about in Liberia. So what I did not mention in election process, but rather to be nominated or appointed, and for me, it's a violation to the organic law. From my point of view, because they should be elected. I think that's my second point on the issue of election matters. I think that is a total violation to us or to the constituent in that identical area where they are elected as leaders or appointed as leaders. I think that should be Article 10 or Article 56 of the Liberian organic law.
Okay.
If there's any idea that anybody can share with us and see how we address the matter, because we have to be so critical on this issue. It will leave it as a like on laissez-faire activities. It will be like a continuing process, and we have to put stop. There should be a bus stop. There should be a checkpoint to remind people that indeed these are things that have to be done.
Did you want to comment?
Yes,
yeah, and that's a very good point. Again, that's what the last time on Thursday I said is. You can't follow one part of
Okay, we got a call.
Again, you ignore.
We got a call, Chuchu.
Someone has to call.
Go ahead.
Why is on your mind? On your mind is when they have a senatorial election. If you're representative and it's
Oh, okay. I think we lost him over there. And if you are still there, you can call us back. We are still here on the program, the Roundtable on Fortified City TV. But just to respond to my brother that just said all the clan chiefs and all the the traditional leaders and all that. You know, that's why we talked about the last time that the president has this blanket power. He has enormous power that he can do anything. And the Constitution gave him the right to do so. And if you look at or some of the articles in the Constitution, let me see one of them here. Okay. You know, he can appoint as many presidents as possible. You know, 54 talking about appointment, of course, so he can appoint as he wants, even though 56C, 56B actually talk about the clan chiefs and talk about the elections. Say there shall be elections of paramount chief, clan, and town chief by the registered voter in their respective localities to serve for a term of 6 years. They may be re-elected and may be removed only by the president for proved misconduct. The legislature shall enact laws to provide for the qualifications as may be required. So this is another question. Are those laws that are talking about the qualification, are they available? Have they been made available by the legislature? That's another question. Even though we are not having this kind of election, but there should be, according to the provisions here in this article. Yeah.
Okay, so well, I think in my mind, I think we should have to, you know, or maybe have this program maybe for another time, where maybe we can invite one of the law, because I will speak to the district representative of Blues District to appear on the show, so that we can be able to question, you know, concerning these law, and to be able to, so that I can be able to express it. Yeah, his own thoughts concerning this stuff.
At the same time, my brother, at the same time, Article 54 D, it tells us about the superintendent, other county officials, and officials of other political subdivisions. So they all fall, clan chiefs, they fall under the political subdivisions. So it means the president can, either they have election or the president can appoint them. So there still need to be some, you know, revision of this article so that they can be very specific and, you know, stop giving all the powers to the president to appoint. Oh, we got it, get it back.
So are we saying that we are a little bit confused in the organic law?
The reason, let me put this.
Yes, but what you just said regarding 54, I think D, if we see of appointment on political subdivision leadership.
Yes. Yeah, so you see, this is what we're talking about, and this is why we're talking about reform, because there should be clarity. There should be, you know, a distinction between these appointments and the way in which the people come to power, especially where it has to do with the political subdivisions. So the president has absolute power. The president can decide to appoint according to what is in this provision, this article. At the same time, of course, they can be appointed, they can be elected. The clan chiefs can be elected, but if they are not elected, the president, he has the power according to the Constitution, according to that D. So it's a blanket statement, and they say
no. I think, Pastor Patient, I think there are two different positions. So the ones the Article 54 are the ones that he can appoint and commission, right?
Listen to the provisions here.
Okay.
Let me start 54. The president shall nominate and with the consent of the Senate appoint a commission. Let me go to D. D says superintendent, other county officials. Other county officials. There's no name. And then
no.
Officials.
But I think
officials of other political subdivision. The clan chiefs, are they not political subdivision of the county? They are.
No, Pastor Patient. let me share my insight on it. I may be wrong, but
Okay.
like in a political subdivision, you got people at the treasury, you got people like who worked for the government. They're not elected officials. Those are the ones they're talking about. So they work for the internal affairs. For instance, the Ministry of Internal Affairs has people in all of the counties, in all of the districts. Those are the ones they're talking about to be appointed. The ones in the subdivisions that are elected are the clan chief, which is completely different from the ones the president appoint. So county officials, yes, it can be considered both the representative and the appointed position, but the distinction I think is the administrators for those different districts are different from the elected officials, who should be the clan chief and the parliament chief and so forth.
Okay, we're going
I
to
think that's my view on it.
we're going to have our legal minds here to explain this provision. The
Mm,
next time we meet, like Moses rightly
right.
said, that we need to bring clarity to this provision. And you see why there's a need for us to reform the Constitution, because people need to be clear on these
Mhm.
things. We need to be clear on how these things are done or how they should be done, so everyone can know what it is. If town chiefs should be elected, what's stopping us from electing the town chiefs? Is it because the elections commission do have the funding to be able to, conduct elections for the clan chiefs? Well, we will keep discussing, and we will hopefully we'll have answers to some of the questions that we are asking. You want to continue, Moses?
You the American people respect time.
No.
Likewise, we are in Africa too should also respect time.
Moses is very important. The fact is that it's Liberia concern. It's Liberia
Pastor
concern.
Patient, please, you are muted.
It's Liberia concern.
Yeah,
That's the
I
fact.
Pastor
muted
Patient, please.
I did.
Okay,
For
okay.
feedback.
It's our concern. If we don't push the issue to a certain extent, government always feel, that way, it will be like a laissez-faire activity, as the economy will put it. Let leave it happen. They don't talk on it, so we don't talk about it. Let leave it just the way it is. They didn't realize we will also move towards it. So we should not be the one like being a watchdog rather than a sleepy dog. I think now we tend to be a sleepy dog that is now observing government activities rather being a watchdog. So if we keep watching it and keep mounting pressure on government, I think government will have it in their mind that the watchdog are seriously watching to keep our feet to the fire. So we should not leave it just the way it is. Thank you. So I think we should keep this as a means of making sure that government should at least attend to one of them, move to another one, little by little. We should have budget for that.
Okay, let's put up. There's a comment here. Let's read this comment. The Supreme Court has ruled on this before during Madam Salif regime. The president was backed by Article 54C and D. Madam Salif appointed all the local government officials. So a precedent has been set already. So the others can follow.
Yeah, but the question I want to know, I mean, again, this is for the legal people. If this is the Constitution and the judiciary is there to interpret the Constitution, why would they rule against what the Constitution is saying? It doesn't make any sense. Because if the Constitution says, so that means you're saying that the Supreme Court now can rule that the president appoint all the senators, even though the Constitution said it has to be elected. That's the same thing. They're not there to make the law. The law said that these people should be appointed, right? So there's no way they can rule against what the law says. Now, if there was a confusion between the two and the Constitution wasn't clear on it, then you can say that they interpret it as such. But on that thing, a sixth grade student can read and say which one of them need to be elected and which one of them needs to be appointed.
So it brings us
the
back to the place where we need to have a reform or we need amendment.
Yeah, but even if you, Pastor Patient, even if you create a whole new constitution and everything is correct, and you still have a corrupt system, they will still rule against the good constitution that you present. So you still need real leadership.
Okay, let's hear our brother from.
I said, for me, that was a misinterpretation of the law from my point of view. Because it had been specified in the law that indeed these guys should be elected. That's one point very clear. If the law say others, it don't refer to them. That's very clear. Others have to be with people that are not being mentioned as well. That's the order there. We mean you can be a transport union here or coordinator for the area, we can nominate you, we can appoint you. But now the issue have been mentioned as already in the law that have been guided by rules and regulations by the organic law. You cannot count that into others. I did not understand that point. So if that was done, it was done in error.
No, they were not doing error. The Salif
Or
administration
it was
was
done
very
to
corrupt.
appease.
It was
Hold on.
misinterpreted.
Let me make this point here.
For me, it was misinterpreted. Let me go to the point.
No. It was not done in error. Ellen Johnson
All right.
and Unity Party they are very corrupt people. They knew exactly what they were doing, and they wanted to subvert power to themselves. And it seems Joseph Boga sat there. Why he didn't say something about it? Do this, but because that's corruption. Corruption is not just stealing money. Corruption is when something is mentioned for you to do, and you knowingly go there and do against it. That's just like you robbing the people of their rights and their power. That's corruption. So in this
It's
case,
administrative.
administration in the first term was very. That's one example of it. People need to talk about it. They need to talk about it. So how can you come and say these people have integrity? These people want better for Liberia when they blatantly look at the Constitution, the people right to elect their own people, and they say no. Then they go to the same corrupt Supreme Court that they appointed the people there, and the Supreme Court say, oh yeah, we'll rule in your favor. That's the corruption in Liberia. That's what we can develop. It's the leadership that corrupt. But they will change that corrupt people. You have the same problem because you create another good constitution. They will go, you get a boycott and an LA again. They will do the same thing. And that what people have to face up with.
Thank you, my brother.
But okay, so we are out of time. But to conclude, in my honest opinion, I think we need a legal practitioner to explain as to whether it was whether it was a literature rating or it was a term, or let's just say the judiciary term that was written. When it is a literature, then of course you can have a stand to say, literature, sixth grade student will understand what is said there, or fourth grade student will even understand what is said there. But when it has to do with interpretation, maybe somebody who have legal expertise to interpret it, I think we can understand as a look.
Okay, thank you, Moses. The brother in studio, you want to give your closing comments?
Yes, what I want to say is I'm so delighted to be on this round table this afternoon or this evening, and this is my first time appearing. I wish to be here as usual, and after all, we have to be very attentive in how we go into matters. Your my concern have been during the election, so for we that in election as media practitioner or journalists, it's our right to making sure that as watchdogs to see how best we watch activities and keep mounting pressure on leadership to do the right thing at the right time. At this point, I want to say I joined from this session. Thank you so much for having me today. I'm be here next time.
Thank you so much, Mr. Jones.
Yeah, again, very briefly, I think you guys are doing a good job. The media, people like yourself, because there's a lot of corrupt media. The big networks are very corrupt and political, and the people have to depend now on these alternative sources, these different community radios, to really speak the truth and protect their rights and so forth. So again, like I said, we have political parties. Why aren't the leadership talking about these things? So the media has a responsibility, but that's what it means to be a political leader. When you're not in power, you need to also advocate for the people. It's not a seasonal thing where you get up one day when election time, then people, they all kind of running and saying, oh yeah, vote for me. But then when election is over, the major things in the country, they all disappear. Today, I'll ask each of you listening, when last have you heard from any one of the political leaders on any issue since the election? But then it will come back to you The next election, I tell you, say they will support your interests. So you gotta be wise, and you gotta know the people who really care and advocate for your rights and for you, and the ones who just show up during election, to get in power. There's a big difference between the two. So thank you again for having me, and it's always a pleasure to be here.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. We want to say thank you to our callers and thank you to our viewers out there. Thank you to our Radio Land, Ablije Radio, Voice of Plebo, Liberty Radio. Thank you. It was a pleasure coming to you again with another edition of the Round Table here on Fortify City TV. We will be here next Thursday to continue with our discussion on the electoral matters. It was wonderful having you join us today. God bless you. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day. God bless. And Mr. Moses, stay in studio after we go on.
All right. Okay. Thank